Happy Saturday! Welcome to Kevin Toll Reads. Today I have a book review. Today's book, John Sandford, Righteous Prey. This is book number 32 in the Lucas Davenport series. This one was a total banger in every sense of the word. I was really worried after Ocean Prey that it was such a great book that this one was going to be kind of like that letdown. And I was pleasantly surprised. This was really, really good. I really enjoyed this one. This was published in 2022. The plot stems around you have 5 people that are billionaires and got rich off of Bitcoin. And through social circles, they come about and get to know each other. And they all have this kind of right wing, we need to do away with some of the scum of the earth. And they figure that based on their intelligence and how they became billionaires, that they have the thoughts and the processing and the mental capacity to pull off murder. And so they go by and call themselves the Five. And there's actually 6 of them because the 6th person, Vivian Chow, who you'll come to learn in through reading the book, is kind of like their handler. And so she puts out these press releases after each person does their own murder in their designated area. And they kind of go by the code name based on airport designation coding. And so you have SFO in San Francisco, JFK in New York, and MSL in Minneapolis. So they're all spread across the United States. And so Porter Smalls from the governor's office calls Lucas in from the U.S. Marshal's office. Along the same lines, when a murder happens in Minneapolis, Virgil Flowers gets involved from the BCA. And so Lucas and Virgil kind of team up and start tracking and trying to figure out who's responsible for these murders. And as the murders take place, they're trying to piece together who these people are and trying to figure out what's the common thread and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the plot of it. I'm not really going to get into too many spoilers here. I don't really think I'm going to say anything that really spoiled the book, but when talking about some of the things I really enjoyed the beginning and to learn about how Sandford wrote some of these murders and it was very interesting. It just grabbed my attention immediately. And so I kind of knew at that point that I was in for a really good treat here, and it didn't let down at all. I really enjoyed Flowers. Obviously, he's one of my favorite characters. He's a favorite character in the series. I thought the subplot of him writing a book, if you know anything about Virgil from the Virgil Flowers series, which is a spinoff from Lucas Davenport, he kind of got his start writing nature and wildlife articles. And so he's always wanted to write a book. And so he's working with his publicist, Esther from New York, to publish this book, and he's trying to get it promoted and sign a deal. And so that was really cool to listen to it. And then especially some of the other things, and we'll get into that a little bit in a minute, that were really hilarious. Kid makes a brief entry helping Lucas turn off some security cameras at one of the murder's home. And so Lucas and Virgil kind of go on this clandestine B&E. And so if you know Lucas, that's how he kind of operates to find out, dirt on the murderer or suspected murderer to pressure them. And so that happens as well. Letty makes a brief appearance. There's no Ray in the book, which was kind of a letdown, but I think the stuff with Virgil and Lucas was more than made up for it. I really enjoyed kind of the ending. It was just kind of a roller coaster. It just kind of went up this huge hill and then it just dove, and it was just a wild ride because you had a gunfight. You had this great stuff happening with Virgil and the book stuff, and it led to some hilarious conversations, all while they're trying to do a really grim and dark kind of flushing out of a person. What ends up happening with the 5 and kind of how they implode a little bit. And so I really enjoyed that. It gets pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal in some places. The shootout, some of the murders, nothing over the top, but I really enjoyed it. Some of the excerpts I thought were hilarious. When they're on, I think of the first one in Minneapolis, Flowers mentions Lucas taught me always to view the body, because one of the guys was like, oh, you don't need to see it. It is what it is. And Virgil's like, no, Lucas always taught me you go view the body, because that it gets the blood pumping. It takes it from what is a theoretical homicide and makes it a real homicide. And so I thought that was interesting to kind of pay that homage to earlier in the series. I really enjoyed when Virgil's getting going, his boss at the BCA calls him and he wants to get him going, and his stepson Sam comes in, and it's chaos. He's trying to get out the door and grab his go bag, and he's like, what the F is going on? Just out of the blue. And then as he's leaving, the stepson's like, how about you use your gun and shoot someone this time? And that is hilarious, if you know kind of thing, because Flowers is not a big on guns and taking them along with him kind of thing, even though he hunts and everything else. And so I thought it was hilarious. When Flowers lets Lucas and the lady from the FBI know that he got the book deal, and Esther has published this pressuring him for more books, to write more books, I thought it was hilarious, because Lucas is like, well, what's the problem? You sit in a chair and write. How hard is it? I thought that was funny. And then he was talking about, well, here's one of the titles for my next book I'm working on. And Lucas is like, that title sucks. I was walking, listening to this at the time, and I was laughing out loud because I thought it was so funny. Only dislike, there's some subtle underlying tones kind of around gun control, maybe. Like, I don't really think Sandford takes a side either way on this. There's also a little bit of Trump and Biden, but I think it's time stamping. Definitely not into the realm of King and Hawley and some of the other over-the-top stuff. But it wasn't necessary. I guess that's why I view it as a dislike. It didn't bother me any, but me being nitpicky, I guess. In terms of rating, I give this a 4.5. It was a great entry. Again, I was really nervous about how this book would hold up after Ocean Prey. Ocean Prey was so good. So this was a pleasant surprise. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was great. 4.5 out of 5. That's a review. If you've read this book, I know Jim, he's commented before, Jim Morgan, I think he read Ocean Prey recently. Definitely worth the read, Jim. I think if you liked Ocean Prey, I think you'll like this. Give it a shot. Anyways, I hope you're having a great Saturday. Be on the lookout. I'm going to be doing a review of All the Flowers Are Dying, Matthew Scudder book. I finished that last night and this morning, and so I'm ready to rock and roll with that one as well. Hope you're having a great Saturday. Talk to you later. Bye.